And as you come down onto your mats, you can choose if you want to lie down, sit down, wherever you want to be. And I invite you to take a low gaze or close down the eyes. Begin to soften the breath. Begin to shift from your day, letting the mind change course from everything that was going on before. And just pause for a little while. And beginning to notice any sounds around. Maybe sounds from the music, maybe sounds outside, maybe sounds inside, maybe your stomach's rumbling, or any other sounds. Just be aware of them and let them pass. And as you listen to those sounds, letting that orient you in your space, knowing where you dwell in this current moment. And taking the awareness to the chest and the ribs. Noticing that rise and fall, the expansion, the contraction of the diaphragm, each inhale and exhale. As you breathe here, I invite you to lengthen the exhale a little. See if you can make that exhale a little longer than the inhale. Maybe it feels good to count the seconds. Perhaps counting 4 on the inhale, 6 on the exhale, or any other count that you wish, or ignoring the count completely if you prefer. And just following that physical movement. Our theme this month is all about putting the no in November and honouring your boundaries or setting new boundaries and how that feels. It's not always easy. So if you were in last week's class where we spoke about that, I invite you just to consider any boundaries that you did set and how that went for you. If you weren't, or you hadn't done it, maybe considering where you might want to set a boundary. Are there places where you're starting to feel frustrated or resentful, or irritable about something? Do you need to say no to something to protect your own integrity, mental health, safety, and feeling of satisfaction? I invite you to now set an intention for your practice. Maybe it's around boundaries, maybe it's something else. Just something to bring to mind as we go through the practice. And then something you can also take off the mat after practice if it serves you. Just connects what we do here with what we do in the day-to-day world. And then once more coming back to the breath. Perhaps extending that exhale again. 5 more breaths like that. And then once you've finished your 5 breaths, beginning to gently come back into the room, noticing those points of connection with the floor. Bringing some movement into the fingers and the toes. Maybe taking a really nice stretch. Maybe rotating the wrists around a little in both directions. Hearing all the cricks and the cracks that come out. And the same with the ankles. And then, in whatever way feels good for you, slowly coming up to meet in a seated position. We're going to start seated today, so sit in a way that's comfy for you. You can see that I'm always sitting on my bolster these days. I'm finding that a very comfy place to sit, so any option's good. Even if you want to sit in a chair, you are very welcome. So we're going to start with letting the right ear come down towards the right shoulder, getting a nice lengthening down the left side of the neck. And you can place the right hand just above the left ear. Very gently let that hand work with gravity, no pulling, just letting that slight extra weight extend the lengthening down the left side. And then very slowly dipping the chin towards the chest. And just notice how that changes the sensation. Maybe it increases the stretch, maybe it changes it in some other way for you, maybe it moves it further around the back. One more breath. And then gently release the hand, bring the head back to center, and very slowly let the left ear come to the left shoulder. And again, take that left hand just above the right ear. Maybe even touch the ear, though my hands are cold. And just notice that sensation. Have a little giggle if you have cold hands. And then letting the chin drop towards the chest on this side. Again, optional. One more breath. And release back up. Taking some big shoulder rolls backwards. So almost as if you're rolling your shoulders. But you're also pushing the chest forward as they come back and dipping the chest back, rounding it as your arms come forward. See how big you can move it, almost like your chest and your arms are cogs working in opposite directions. And then change in the direction. Gosh, that's feeling really good today, actually, for me. And then releasing the shoulders. Gonna do a squeeze up towards the ears with the shoulders and really just let them drop heavy. And then again, squeezing up as you inhale and exhale, let them down. One more, squeeze up and exhale down. Now this time I'm going to inhale the arms up and we'll look round to the right, letting the arms come down as you exhale. Again, inhale slowly up through center, arms up, looking left this time and exhaling arms down. Inhale through center, keep going with your own breath on this one. Once more each side, following your own breath, twisting as deep as feels good. And then coming back to center, we're going to come into our first posture, which will be thread needle. So we're going to come over onto all fours. I'll show a different option if anyone finds that being on their knees isn't working today. So come in all fours, hips above knees, shoulders above wrists. Maybe want to move that left wrist slightly towards center. I find that helps with my balance. And then we'll inhale the right arm up to the sky. And as you exhale, thread it through under the left. We're going to do that twice more. And then on the third one, we'll hold at the bottom. So moving with your breath as you exhale down through. And then the third one, holding at the bottom. We're going to stay there for 2 minutes. If you want to kind of creep further under that left arm, you can pick the left elbow up and bring it towards the sky. Maybe coming up onto the pads of the left hand, left fingers. See if you can look round under that left armpit. If you don't want to be on your knees, another option is to be on your back with your arms bent, your legs bent, sorry, and cross the right arm across the body. Then you can use the left arm to gently pull that right arm towards you in a action like this, keeping the right hand pointing at right angles to the arm. Finding your edge here, maybe you creep the right fingertips further away. Only about 20 seconds left on this side. Taking one more breath in. And gently releasing it out through the mouth. And then as you inhale, coming back up to all fours. Maybe taking some cat-cows to move into the back a little. So inhaling as you look forward And exhaling, pushing the ground away and doming the upper back. And again, inhale to look forward, drop the belly. And exhale, tuck the tailbone towards the mat, push into the ground. And then coming back to neutral spine. Maybe bringing that right hand slightly center this time. And inhaling the left hand to the sky. Exhale, threading through. Inhale, coming up again. Reaching up. And exhale, thread through. Once more, and then holding at the bottom. Keeping the hips high. And again, you can creep that right hand away from you, coming up onto the pads of the fingers, elbow high. Look further round under the right armpit if that is a sensation that you want to go to. Otherwise, staying where you are. And again, if it's not feeling good to be on the knees, come into seated or on your back, bringing that left arm across the body. Fingers pointing at right angles to the arm, using the right arm to pull that arm in. Noticing where your own boundaries are here in this posture. Part of finding the edge. Going deep enough so that you feel something, but not so deep that it's uncomfortable or painful. Any numbness, tingling, pins and needles, or sharp feeling of pain. And then I do advise just to back off from the posture, come to a resting position for a moment before going back in. And another 40 seconds still on this side. Taking one more deep breath in where you are. And allowing it out through the mouth, clearing the air out. And then inhaling, coming back up. And perhaps you want to get off your knees. So you're welcome to come straight down onto your belly on the mat. And just take a moment here. Just between postures, finding that space and that silence in the present moment. Taking one more breath there, and then we'll move into our next posture. So when you feel ready, we're going to move into Sphinx posture. So a couple of options here. Can be on our front with elbows under shoulders, or maybe slightly in front of the shoulders, palms down, letting the shoulder blades drop down the back, getting length from the crown of the head, letting the spine drape down. Feet can be as wide apart as feels comfortable for you. And a gentle press of the pubic bone into the mat. If this doesn't feel good on the arms, you can bring in a bolster under the armpits. And then let the head rest in the hands. You can also place a block under the forehead, letting the head rest. We're going to stay here for 4 minutes in total. We've had about half a minute already. If this doesn't feel good in the lower back for anyone, or staying here is not feeling great, you have another option to be on your back with a bolster behind you. Or something between the shoulder blades to open the chest towards the sky. Get that same curve into the upper spine. So a bit of extension into the space behind the ribs, between the shoulder blades. And as you stay here, again noticing what your brain does in these longer holds. Can you find a place of stillness in the mind as well as in the body? If the brain is super busy, maybe come into the breath, or music, or the sensation as your anchor to focus on, giving the mind a different focus than all its busy chatter. Perhaps lengthening the exhale. Seeing if that helps ground you into the posture. Around another 40 seconds here. Noticing where you're feeling the sensation in your body. Maybe it's where you'd expect. Maybe it's somewhere totally different. Taking one more deep breath in. And sighing it out. If you're on your stomach, removing any props and just coming fully down onto the mat. If you're on your back, just letting any props come out from behind you. And laying fully back in the whole expanse of the back. If you're on your front, perhaps you bring the right leg up alongside the body, sort of out at right angles at the hip, a little commando type posture. And bringing the leg up, and perhaps turning the head the opposite direction to the leg. If you're on your back, maybe hugging one leg in. And then switching legs now and taking the other side. And then if you're on your front, bringing that leg down and pushing back to child's pose. If you're on your back, hugging the knees in, rolling over onto your side. And where we are, wherever you are, we're all going to meet on all fours for our next posture. There'll be two options here. So the next posture is going to be sleeping swan or sleeping pigeon, and I'll do another option on your back as well. So for those that want to go into pigeon, sleeping swan, sleeping pigeon, any name you want to give it, most hated pose ever maybe for some people, bringing the right knee towards the back of the right wrist, and then wriggling that right foot towards the left wrist, only bringing it as far over as will feel comfortable, and at the same time slide that left leg back. The more you bring the right foot towards the left wrist, the deeper the sensation will be in the glutes and the hips. And then from here, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, place it back down. And then option to come down on the elbows or come down onto a bolster or blocks. If you are on your backs or prefer the other option, coming onto your back, left knee bent up, right foot crossing over left knee. Option to stay there or to pick up the left foot. We're staying here for just over 2 minutes on each side. As you settle into this one, and take your awareness to that place where you feel the sensation. What is that sensation like for you? Is it a very specific point? Does it cover a large area? Does it move? Can you deepen the sensation or lessen the sensation through your movements? And getting really curious about it, investigating your own body's responses. And feel free to take any organic movements that feel nice whilst you're in your choice of posture. You can move it around, but then finding that place where you can pause and then be still in that place. Slowing the breath down. Slowing the mind down. And slowing the body. Taking one more breath in here. And slowly releasing out. Coming back up out of the posture. Maybe windscreen wiper in the legs if you're lying down. We're doing some cat-cow if you're on your knees. And then when you feel ready, we can change to the other side. Left knee towards left wrist. Slide that right leg back a little. And wriggle the left foot round towards that right wrist. Slide the leg back a bit more. Find your spot that you're going to pause in. Maybe you find your edge. Tuck that back toe, lift the knee, lace it down again. And then choosing if you're staying up or coming down onto elbows or all the way down. And if you're on your back, choosing if that knee stays bent on the floor, foot on the floor, or if you straighten the leg and pull it in towards you. Finding the play between too much, too little. And settling in there for time. Seeing how you can stay present with the sensation. Another 2 minutes on this side. Notice how that makes you feel. And did the way your brain reacted change anything in your body? Notice where your mind has gone. Two more deep breaths here. And at the end of that second breath, slowly coming back out. Coming to all fours. If you're on your front, or if you're on your back, letting the legs drop side to side to windscreen wiper. And taking any movements that feel nice, cat-cows, wriggles around. And then gently come into a seated position. We'll take a few breaths before we move into our savasana. Just to move out of our physical practice towards rest. So letting the hands rest on the knees. Closing down the mouth. Breathing through the nose. If it feels good, you can count the breaths, count the seconds as you breathe, or count the breaths themselves. And see if you can take a few of the deepest, longest breaths you've taken all practice. Taking one more breath. And then releasing it out. We're going to move into Shavasana. So your choice of Shavasana. Maybe you take your legs up the wall. Maybe they are over the back of a sofa. So calves up on the sofa, back on the floor. Maybe you do a seated Shavasana. Maybe you lie back and pop a bolster and blocks under your knees. Wherever you are, making sure you are fully comfortable to get as much rest as is possible for you today. Grab any blankets, socks, get cozy. Take a deep breath in. Sigh it out. And again, feel free to stick your tongue out or make a noise as you sigh. Any last final movements, hand squeezes, shoulder squeezes, face squeezes, anything that feels nice. And then on your next exhale, feeling that wave of softening of the muscles, of the eyes, of the tongue, everything softening down into Shavasana. And as you lay there, continue to rest. I'll share a little reading with you. Boundaries are not barbed wire fences, love. Boundaries are the poetry and prose that tell others how to love, respect, and connect with us. Boundaries are the choreography of our relationships, guiding the steps of our interactions. Boundaries are love in action. You're very welcome to stay where you are, but if you want to come out of Shavasana, slowly beginning to notice the back of the body connecting with the ground or the sit bones with the seat. Deepening the breath, bringing some gentle, tiny movements into the fingers and the toes. And gently bringing the legs closer into the body. Taking more movement in the arms. Maybe hugging the knees in, giving yourself a really big, well-deserved hug. And then gently rocking over onto your side and coming up to seated, keeping your eyes closed and just taking a moment to notice how you feel. We'll take some breaths to close our practice. Breathing in calm, breathing out clarity, breathing in connection, and breathing out kindness. When you feel ready, you can gently blink open the eyes. Thank you all for joining. Very grateful to have you here and to be here to guide you through. Thank you.